we had a situation where 2 sales reps and 1 manager quit all on the same morning. The cash flow inside the business was going down and down and down and down, but I didn't even realize it, to the point where I had to pay the whole team and the payment bounced because we didn't have any more money inside the account. What's working, what's not working, and then how can I improve on that? And every day, if you do that, you're just becoming better and better and better and better, and you stop making the same mistakes again. For example, I can move at twice the speed now than I previously could, because I avoid the same dumb mistakes. I cannot beat my AI avatar. My human videos never outperform my AI avatar videos. I just can't beat my clone. It's pretty scary.
Welcome to The Business Game, the show that breaks business down into real levels, from $0 to $200 billion, so founders can see exactly where they are and what comes next. Today's guest is playing at level 3, which is delegation and early leadership. At this level, the business is working, revenue is strong, the team is growing, but the real challenge is stepping out of being the operator and into being the CEO. This is the stage where founders realise that growth isn't limited by demand, it's limited by them. The goal? Stop being the bottleneck and build a leadership layer that can scale without you.
Hello and welcome to The Business Game. No gatekeeping, no hype, just real founders breaking down the real levels of business. I'm Kalina Steno.
And I'm Jamie Amotta.
Before we get started today, make sure to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. Jamie, it's so great to have you back.
Thank you.
Jamie is one of our original TBG hosts and keeps things rolling behind the scenes for us now, but she's out of hosting retirement while Steve is away. So
yeah,
I'm so happy to have
retirement. It was nice, and now I can't remember what I'm doing.
Should be interesting.
More exciting is today we're actually joined by Julian Goldie, founder of Goldie Agency and AI Profit Boardroom, who is playing the business game at level 3. So what that means is it's a business doing between $3 and $8 million in revenue, with a growing team, real momentum, and a founder right in the middle of the delegation leadership shift. Julian's built a multi-million-dollar business operating globally with a team of over 30 people using AI systems and automations to scale fast. It's a pleasure having you on the show, Julian. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So where are you calling in from? Whereabouts in the world are you?
Yeah, so I'm based in Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's not where I would have picked the accent from.
Don't quite have the Thai accent, no. So originally I come from England, Manchester, but about 10 years ago I just switched over to Thailand and loved it ever since.
What made you do the switch?
So actually, I had a lad's holiday. It was like me and my best mates from Manchester, and we had a holiday out in Thailand, and it was, first time I'd ever been to Asia. Absolutely loved it. Had a great time. And when I got back to England, I was working a full-time job in a sort of corporate office sort of thing. Didn't enjoy it that much. Had the holiday blues a lot when I got back from England, and bad food, bad weather, job I didn't really like, and so me and my friends, we basically said to each other, right, within 1 year, we want to be back out in Thailand with the freedom to live and work from anywhere in the world. And a year later, it happened for all of us. So ever since then, I've lived all over the world, like Bali, Taiwan, Colombia, Peru, places like this. But Thailand is my favorite.
I'm so envious. I love Thailand. That's my dream. Okay, so to get things off, for all our listeners just getting to know you, can you talk to us a little bit about what each of your businesses do? So Goldie Agency and AI Profit Boardroom?
Yeah, sure. So the SEO agency is a business that I've been running for about 7 years now. And basically we help websites rank number 1 on Google and AI search engines like ChatGPT and Perplexity, and help them get more customers. So they get free traffic from Google and these AI search engines. That sends customers over to their websites, and they get free traffic for that. And then the other side of the business is the AI Profit Boardroom, which I started in less than a year ago. So I started it in sort of February last year. And that's an AI automation community. So it helps businesses automate their business, scale, get more customers. Basically all the systems I use inside my business for AI, I put inside there. And so, that's grown from zero less than a year ago to over $1 million a year in revenue. So it's pretty nice.
Wow,
Yeah, wow,
fantastic.
congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. Julian, I'm going to quote you back something that you've said and ask you to explain what you led you down that path. So you have said, I'm not a tech genius. I'm not a coder. I'm just an entrepreneur who figured out how to leverage AI to scale faster than my competition. So, having said that, how did you figure that out and what led you to go down that road?
Yeah, great question. So, and I was thinking when you said the quote, it could be anything
You're
there.
like,
So I
uh
wasn't
oh,
sure what you
what did I
were
say?
Yeah, so really what happened, what got me into AI in the first place was when ChatGPT first came out about probably 3 years ago or just over 3 years ago. Obviously, it changed the whole world, I would say, in terms of how many people use AI and how people are going to search for information. Now, me having an SEO agency and all our clients reliant on Google, there was this fear back then, especially that, AI was going to take all our jobs within a few months. And number two, that people wouldn't use Google anymore to search for information. Now, back then, I was like, well, I've built my whole business around Google and SEO. And so I've got two choices here. It's like, either I fall behind or I adapt. And so I was like, right, okay, I'm just going to go all in on AI. I'm going to start spending 4 to 5 hours a day learning and implementing it inside my business and then documenting and sharing the whole process along the way. And what was really interesting about that was I was posting on YouTube previously and I'd get like maybe 200, 300 views a video, which was okay. But as soon as I started talking about ChatGPT and what I learned with that and how I'm using it for my SEO agency, we started getting like 10,000, 20,000 views a video. And we went from about 10,000 views a month back then before AI. And now we reach about 2.5 million people a month
Oh
on
my
YouTube
gosh.
talking about AI. So yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. When you because there's that because I mean you've brought up SEO and obviously your agency that's it's a big thing. You've built your business on sort of on the back of that, so to say. But with OpenAI, ChatGPT, I know along with probably a lot of other people, I'm just searching within AI now. I personally, I'm not using Google unless I'm looking for images. But that's me. But I'm finding that's a habit that I formed very quickly. So SEO then is no longer working for me. And I just want to break this down for businesses that haven't jumped on or heard of maybe in depth of the GEO and how that works. Can you maybe break that down for us and the importance of that because our researching habits are changing?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, if you look at the quality of results that you get from ChatGPT, especially if you're used to using it and you understand it, you can get such more personalized responses. You can go far deeper in a response as well. And also, ChatGPT remembers all your history. Plus, it's not just going to force recommend an answer. So, for example, if you look at Google, it's just going to sift from the web and find 10 links for you no matter what, right? Whereas, for example, with ChatGPT, it will start thinking about the answer before it creates the content. And instead of relying on sourcing a website, it will actually come up with an answer on its own based on what it thinks you need to hear and understanding your history. And then it will give you an answer. And so, for sure, like the way people search and the information that we get is so much different now. I also think that, typically in internet trends, entrepreneurs are usually like 3 or 5 years ahead of how most people use the internet. And so if you're using ChatGPT like that instead of Google, then that's probably an accelerated version of what the world will look like in 3 or 5 years.
Okay. So for businesses then that are listening in and they're like, okay, we're completely optimized for SEO only. What do they need to change?
Yeah, so I mean, the good news is like if you're already doing SEO, quite often a lot of our clients who are ranking inside Google
Yep.
will rank inside ChatGPT. But one of the biggest differences that I've seen personally is like with ChatGPT, for example, it sends far less traffic to websites, right? So, for example, if you look at Google, it's always sending traffic to a website. It's
Yep.
always giving you 10 links. If you look at ChatGPT, sometimes it won't give any links. Quite often, it won't give any links. But when it does, usually it's to a product recommendation, and that's a high converting click. And so you might get less traffic from these AI search engines, but actually, if you're ranking and you're there when people need to buy, that traffic is going to convert way better.
Yeah.
The other difference that I've seen is like with the power of AI, it's so much easier now to create content and to scale content. So, for example, whether it's blog posts, whether it's posting on 10 platforms instead of one, for example, which is something we do, typically you can scale your content 10x. And so that counterbalances getting less traffic. And the
Mm-hmm.
other cool thing about that is not only are you creating more content, for example, you might be happy. For example, for us, like we have 4 different websites that we publish to every day. We post on LinkedIn as articles, we post on X articles, we post on Reddit, all using AI, and it's all automated.
Mm-hmm.
But not only do you rank inside ChatGPT doing that, but also you rank inside the platform itself. So, for example, like on Reddit, we started a subreddit in February last year, and they have an agreement. Reddit have an agreement with ChatGPT and Google that they can train their data on Reddit's information. And so you also get the traffic from the platform itself. I mean, we grew a subreddit from like 0 traffic in February last year to now it's getting about 95,000 views a month.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
That's,
Interesting.
yeah. I'm interested to know what the process generally looks like for a founder when they reach out to you with the Goldie agency.
Yeah, do you mean on the AI side or for SEO or?
I think mostly for like going through the automation, SEO, and the smarter marketing elements.
Yeah, so typically, I mean, like, so we number one, we have 2 sides of generating leads, right? So we get a lot of leads from YouTube and our organic content, and then we also get a lot of leads and sales calls booked in from Facebook ads as well. And so we're always trying to fill our sales reps' calendars and try and get them at least 3 to 5 live calls each per day. And so the funnel that we have, when clients come to us, is that they'll book in a free SEO strategy session. They'll get warmed up with an email funnel that just gives them information about us and what they can expect on the call and sort of gets them excited, gives them some freebies. And then on the actual call, when clients come to us, we basically just look at the website, and it's a very simple process. It's like we look at your website, analyze what you can improve, where you're currently at, and then figure out, okay, with a discovery process, where do you want to be? What are your biggest pain points? What you're struggling with? And then from there, we can sort of give you the best solution based on that. So we have different packages based on where the company's at.
Okay. With your packages, so you're now actually helping your clients scale faster through your automation, SEO, and smarter marketing. So they take on their packages, and then what do you do? What do you develop with them?
Yeah, so I mean, like on the SEO side, for example, what we'll typically do is we'll start by doing the keyword research. So what are their customers looking for on Google? And how can they be found? And also what are the low competition opportunities? So for example, like if I was trying to rank in SEO, well, SEO training keywords are a bit more long tail, which means they have less competition and they're much easier and faster to rank for. So we try and find like opportunities like that for the client in like the first week or two. And then from there, we start creating content for the client. So articles, blogs, targeting those keywords we found. And we build backlinks to their website as well. Backlinks, if anybody's watching and unaware what a backlink is, basically it's the clickable text from one website to another. And it's kind of like a vote to say your content is good. So the more backlinks you get from relevant authoritative sources, the more likely you are to rank inside Google and also inside ChatGPT and AI search engines.
Brilliant.
So let's shift gears for a moment. You're at the upper end of level 3. So tiering on level 4, which is very exciting. But I'd love to hear about the roadblocks that you've experienced along the way and all those different levels. So if there's one that really stands out to you, I think as an entrepreneur, you're always coming across bottlenecks and teething issues and learning. Is there one big one that you could share with our listeners that you could share some wisdom on?
Yeah, for sure. I think like, when you start scaling and you start, for example, for me, when I hit like $100,000 a month, which was a few years ago now, really, I felt kind of like, I'm comfortable. and I've kind of made it and I don't need to work so hard anymore. And so one of the biggest mistakes that I made was I actually took my working hours down to like 1 hour per day. And the problem with that was like we kind of stagnated because we didn't have the right systems in place to grow without me. And so I think one of the biggest mistakes is like you get to a certain point and you stop doing what was working. So like for me, when I was, when I have the intensity of working like 10 or 12 hours a day, like number one, I love it. But number two, I'm always getting better. I'm always improving at that sort of level of intensity. I get more reps at what I do. I have more concentration and focus on the business. Whereas, when I took it down to like 1 hour per day, you get shiny object syndrome, you get distracted, you not all your creative energy is going somewhere else. And so your business can quite quickly stagnate. And the other thing I find with that is like, either your business is growing or you are. And so like if my business stops growing and if I stop growing because I'm not pushing myself at the same level, then it just creates this level of stagnation that's really painful. But I think it's a good lesson in terms of like, okay, I tried that, it was fun, but I would never do it again. Like I love working as hard as I can.
Yeah. What is something then? What was one of your first leadership moves that you made where you felt like, yeah, I've really leveled up? Was it getting to that 100,000, or has there been like that 100,000 a month? Sorry, or has there been other things after that point where you're like, wow, I made that critical decision there, and that has really leveled up our business?
Yeah, for sure. I think hiring a team of account managers was massive. So, before like the business will rely on me to manage all the clients. And I think that's something that's natural if you're a freelancer starting from the ground up, which I was. And so just bringing in account managers, you number one, keep clients longer. Number two, upsell more. And number three, keep clients happier as well. And so like all of a sudden, number one, your business runs without you and you can just focus on building systems and outputs. And number two, like the cash generated when you've got someone like full time on just upselling and keeping clients happy is way higher. And that sort of spirals upwards. Like you learn new things, you learn new systems, you build new things out, and you get better and better at these processes. So I think building an account management team and then also on the sales team too. Like previously we would get a sale, kind of hope more sales would come through, and it wasn't very systemized, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas now, for example, when we're using Facebook ads, it's like I can get as many calls as I want.
Yeah.
I know exactly how to keep the cost down for the cost per call. I know how to train and hire sales reps. And that was something that seemed really scary the first time I tried to hand over the sales process to someone else. Whereas now it's like, I've got the playbooks and the systems to bring in a sales rep and get them trained up and taking calls within 5 days.
Yeah. Okay.
I think this might be a good segue. At the moment, I believe you're the central figure managing the majority of your businesses. Is that correct?
Well, it depends what you mean by central. Like we have leaders in place for each department,
Okay.
but I would say like the overall strategy, it comes from me.
So what would you say delegation looks like for you at that level?
So for me, it's like anything that can be done by someone else has to be done by someone else. So for example, the way that I see it is like I'll still create content and I'll still create videos. I'll still show up on podcasts like this because I think no one else can replace me for that. But even, for example, like hiring, like my team understand the culture. They understand who's a good fit, what the blueprint is for a sales rep or for an account manager. And so like we can hire without me and we can scale up each team. And then at each department of the business, we have a leader. So for example, for operations, we have a leader. For marketing, we have a leader of that. For sales, we also have a leader. And so you've got like these leadership roles in each part of the business.
Okay. So you've built the business at 300,000 a month. Correct me if our research is incorrect. And it operates largely on AI-driven systems. Is the plan to create leadership layers in the long term, or are you finding that between having a growing team plus the power of automation, further growth is already feeling attainable now?
Yeah, it's one of those where like what I try and do now is like I pay very close attention to what's already working. And then I just try and scale it up. But long term, my plan is to bring in a chief revenue officer who will look after like the sales and the account management team and sort of work on systems to grow those. Because for me, most of the systems come from me, and therefore like the business is constrained by me and my talent, if that makes sense. Like if my skills are not up to par,
Yeah.
then the business is constrained by me. So it's really about like bringing in someone who's a chief revenue officer and can bring in the sales and the account management up to a new level. But at the minute, we can still scale. We're still growing without having someone in place for that. And it's just because like I know all the inputs. Like I know, for example, okay, here's how much we need to spend on Facebook ads. If we want to double the number of sales, okay, we just double that amount.
Yeah.
If we if we have X amount of sales calls for the sales reps, well, now we're ready to hire someone else because the calendars are booked out. Or even, for example, for the AI Profit Boardroom, the growth there is like we can easily take that from where we currently are. We've got a full playbook and a checklist that makes sure the MRR is growing every single week, and we can just replicate that recipe. And it's kind of like an inputs-outputs game where it's like, I know all the inputs and I just have to keep pushing the outputs.
And I like what you said earlier about you're leaning into what works and kind of replicating that and leaning into that. Because there's a lot of lessons to learn, obviously, in our failures, but there's also a lot to learn in what's working as well. And I think sometimes people miss that. They look at everything they've done wrong and think, oh, I've got to just focus on this. But look at what you're doing right as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like for me, I actually have a tracker. It's called the Do Less and Do More tracker. I try and like simplify things as much as I can, but basically what I'll do is I'll track like what works, and it'll be like, okay, the date, the system that we used, how much money it made, proof that it actually works. And then I ask myself, like, how can we do more? You know, what's stopping us from doing like 2 or 3 times that in volume? So for example, you know, to put it in a practical sense, it's like if we do limited time offers and we add a new bonus, and we post that on social media or inside our free school group for the AI Profit Boardroom, well, that always generates sales pretty much instantly. So why can't we do that 2 or 3 times a day, which is something that we're building out at the minute. Or for example, even on YouTube, like we'll create a lot of AI avatar videos, so it doesn't rely on me. It's not my face, it's my AI clone. And it's like, well, okay, if we're hitting like 1 million views at like maybe 2 or 3 videos per day, why don't we do like 6 or 8 or 12 and just keep the quality really high on those videos, and then we can scale up the sales from there too.
Did you not find using AI on YouTube penalized you? Because I know,
Not at all.
really, because I know
Yeah.
a lot of people have been like, oh, we've used AI and it's penalized our, our growth on our channel or whatever they were following and trying to strategize over. But you've found the opposite.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. What happened was like around about March or April last year, we started testing it. We created a couple of AI cloned videos. We were very transparent that number one, it's AI.
Yeah.
And number two, we even market on YouTube as like synthetic content.
Yep.
And so we tested it out, and first couple of videos didn't do that good, but I know it's because we didn't have a good process, so it was my fault. And then back in July, I was like, right, okay, let's really go for this. Let's crack the code on this because it's huge leverage, right? It's like something that can grow without me. I can just have my
Absolutely.
editors
Yeah.
automatically publish. And so one thing that we found at this point, just from self-iterating, from giving feedback to the editors, from building better and better systems on how to create those avatar videos, I cannot beat my AI avatar. If you actually check out my channels, you can see this on 3 different channels. Julian Goldie SEO, Julian Goldie Agency, and Goldie SEO. If you check out all those 3 YouTube channels,
Yep.
you'll see on every single one of them that my human videos never outperform my AI avatar videos. I just can't beat my
Really?
clone. It's pretty scary.
You can't
scary.
beat yourself.
Oh my gosh.
That is crazy.
I was trying to figure out why. I was like, why is this happening? Like, why? Because I've been doing YouTube for 5 years. Like, why am I not
Yeah.
at the same level? And I think it's because, number one, like the visual hooks on an AI avatar video are beautiful, right? Like you've got this amazing screen, it's popping up all these visuals, it's perfectly edited. And then also the delivery, like the AI avatar will show up with perfect energy, very articulate. And also when the script itself is engineered, it's optimized perfectly based on what worked before.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm doing a video, I'm talking off the cuff. I'm not that focused on the visual hooks, and so like I'm just not as perfect as the AI avatar.
Hey guys, just a quick break to thank our affiliate partner, HubSpot. We are thrilled to announce our partnership with HubSpot, the ultimate all-in-one CRM platform. HubSpot helps you streamline marketing, sales, and customer service with powerful tools to grow your business faster. From lead generation to automations, it's got you covered. By using the link in the description, you not only get to start your HubSpot journey for free, but you'll also be supporting our work here on the show. Now it's back to today's episode.
Yes, right. And because the script is sort of the AI's brain almost, as
Yeah.
a lack of a better, it's just going to come out super fluid and yeah.
It's
100%, yeah.
definitely an interesting space, isn't it? Watching where that's going to evolve into, because if AI videos are going to outdo the real videos of ourselves that we are all
can't be our
already putting
clones.
out, like, yeah, do I just get to clone hosts at this point?
Jeez. It is
Like,
scary.
I don't know. Yeah, it's scary, isn't it?
Yeah. It's interesting though. Like, it's exciting. I think that's the common sort of wording we're hearing around AI is that it's scary but exciting.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
100%. I think for me, like, I actually saw it originally with blogs. So, for example, blog content on websites, like, running an SEO agency, I saw like the transition from human content, which was far superior to AI back then, 3 years ago, to the point where now AI can write so much better than human blogs. And I see it the same with YouTube now. More and more of the channels that I watch, or especially if I'm doing research for competitors, I'll usually go to my AI competitors rather than my human competitors because they create better content and you see it blowing up on the algorithm more. I think it's almost a cheat code, especially if you can understand it now. So I think in the same way that it's normal to write a social media post with AI edited content or a blog post with AI edited content, I think, give it not a year, but give it like 5 years, it'll be normal to have AI avatar videos and they'll be far superior to what we can normally do now. For the exception of like a few masters who are just amazing on camera and
Yeah.
know exactly how to create great videos.
Yeah, absolutely. Swinging it back out of YouTube, and because it's obviously something that's always, we're all on YouTube all the time. But I'd love to get into the struggles before your success and your business's success. What almost snapped you in the early levels of your career with Goldie Agency or with AI Profit Boardroom? What was the one thing where it was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this? Was there that pivotal moment that happened and then there was, sunshine and rainbows at the end of that where you were like, oh, amazing? Or was it just a slow slog?
Well, I think one of the things that I noticed is like at every single level of the game, like there's certain levels of pain, and that level of pain that you feel is the same at every level. It's like, to go from like $500 to $10,000 a month can feel just as painful as going from like 100 to 200K.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever get to a point where you're like fully happy or fully satisfied if you want to keep growing, and so you feel these natural pain cycles along the way. I think one of the things that I found at a certain point was when I was really transitioning from like freelancer to agency, I didn't know how to hire, and I was doing all the work myself because I lacked that skill set. Whereas now, like, if someone told me you need to hire a virtual assistant in 30 minutes, I could do it, like, no problem. But back then, like, hiring a virtual assistant seemed like the biggest and hardest task in the world. And so I guess you get those big steps where it's like, it's super painful. And, there was a point where I was working like so hard and, in such like bad conditions, if that makes sense, because I wasn't making much money and I was kind of like fearful, that I got to the point where actually I was working so many hours with such bad posture even, that physically I actually trapped a nerve in my back and my arm. I couldn't feel like two of my fingers on my hand for like 6 months.
You're joking.
And had to continue working to keep the business going. So that was pretty brutal, but I mean, have people had it worse, much worse than me? So it's not that bad.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so you've done that. You've done that hustle, right? That grind, and you've got to that point of now you've trapped a nerve. And this is something that many people in the earlier levels, when they're doing the hustle and the get down and dirty, and they're wearing 6,000 different hats, and you've trapped a nerve in your finger, couldn't feel two of your fingers. How do you course correct that? What was your, I need to course correct. This has got to change, or I'm going to keep literally breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think I actually still remember it now. It's like I remember getting up about 6 a.m. the next day, and I was like, right, okay, I'm just gonna map out exactly what I do in a Google Doc, record it
Yep.
as a video, and then just see if someone else can do it for me. And mentally, it was 10 times harder than actually doing it in real life. It was quite easy. Like you can do that in the morning, you can get a job ad out on Upwork or wherever within a day and you're good to go. And so like, yeah, for sure. Like that's the other thing I find is like you get to certain pain thresholds and that forces you to change. And it's kind of like looking back, you don't really remember the pain, but you do remember the big changes involved,
Yeah.
the big evolutions.
Yeah, that's so true.
Can I just ask quickly, what is it that's driving you? You keep pushing through these levels. What is it that you're reaching for?
I think for me, like, well, at a certain point, it was like, okay, I want to just make enough for me to survive. And then it was like, okay, I want to get in a position where, for example, my mum never has to worry about money again. Like that was one of the great things was just retiring her along the journey. And then I wanted to be in a point where my whole family never has to worry about money again. And then I think at this point, it's like, I would just like to, I mean, we already reach like hundreds of millions of people a year with our content across all the channels, but I'd like to reach 1 billion people with my content and just kind of leave the world in a better place. The other thing I think as well is like, it's not so much about the money you make or even what you build. It's more about like, the person you become along the journey.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the more that we sort of go into your story and you've done the course correct now and you're back on track again, and what did you have to give up or change personally in order to scale and lead your team? So what's sort of one of the hardest decisions that you've made as a new CEO?
Well, I think a big part of the game is sacrifice. You know, it's like you got to throw things into the fire to have more focus, to have more energy, to free up everything. So for me, I think it's like just giving up so much. You know, for example, like even last night, my mate was like, "Do you want to? You know, I'm going to Vietnam. Like, do you want to just meet up before we go?" And I was like, "No, like I can't." And it's
Yeah.
like literally, I have to say no to everything. You know, I'm pretty much every single day. It's like that. So, for example, it's like, okay, do you want to come to this conference and speak in India? It's like, no, I
Yeah.
don't. And I would love to, but it's just like I know what my priorities are, and I'm just going to focus on that. So I think one of the hardest things is just building up that muscle that says no to pretty much everything that is not your goals. And so the way that I see it is like all these sacrifices, like even playing guitar. I haven't played guitar for about a year. You know, like I absolutely love playing guitar. I love singing. Like I have a few songs on Spotify, but I literally don't want to give any of my creative energy to it because I want to just focus on scaling the business. And I think like you're so much more potent and powerful when you just focus in one direction and keep pushing.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very true. Yeah,
It
because
is.
otherwise, you know, your energy leaks in other places, and then you're not giving everything to the one. Especially when you're driven and you want to just see how far you can take it, you need to give it all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And also like I feel like it would be a shame to look back, especially during this opportunity of high growth, and look back and go, I didn't make the most of that. Like I could have pushed harder. Like
Yeah.
I would feel much worse about that.
Yeah, that's true. So if like one of the hardest, I guess, decisions you've had to make, you know, as a new CEO is you've mentioned you've got to say no. You've got to say no to the personal things in your life. What's the hardest lesson you had to learn? Or is that coupled with the no, I can't do that?
Do you know, it was a really hard lesson I learned 1 year, and it was pay very close attention to cash and profits. So what actually happened was it was around about January a couple of years ago, and you know the cash flow inside the business was going down and down and down and down, but I didn't even realize it to the point
Yeah.
where I had to pay the whole team and the payment bounced because we didn't have any more money inside the account. Thankfully, like everyone got paid, don't worry about that. But like
Yeah.
the main thing is and they're still with me today, but like the main thing was I didn't pay close enough attention to profits and cash flow. And so like you don't even think about that when you're at like, you know, 10 or 20K a month. But when you're scaling, you're spending more on marketing and customer acquisition and hiring and scaling a team, it's like you gotta make sure you've got plenty of cash the account to pay for everyone and to handle any problems quickly. And so what I do now actually to fix that is I track day to day. I have a team that tracks day to day all the money that comes in, all the money that goes out, exactly where it is, what our current profit margin is, and then also where that's split across the business. Because also when you've got two companies like the AI Profit Boardroom and SEO agency, the SEO agency at the scale it is, its margins are way lower than like the AI Profit Boardroom compared to where it is. So just pay close attention to cash, because if you don't have any cash in the bank and you're not paying attention to it, like it can run out so quickly. And I actually had a year, leading up to that point, I didn't realize it. I had about 6 months where I thought I was making far more money than I actually was, because I was bringing in 100K a month, but I was probably spending about, like maybe 80 or 90K without even realizing it.
Yeah,
So
wow.
big lesson learned there, but
Yeah.
yeah, you
When
learn and you
would
adapt, don't you?
when for the people that are listening to your very wise words right now, and they want to know, okay, so now you've got your finance team or your accounting team, whatever you may call them, that are, they've got their finger on the pulse there. At what point should these founders that are wearing all the hats, when should they go, okay, it's time? It's time to get in a finance team or an accountant or someone to take control of this?
Yeah, I think when it becomes a constraint, like if, for example, you need to work on a new project or a new system, but you don't have the time or the energy, then I think that's a great time. So that's like the more reactive way to do it if you want to keep your margins as high as possible, because obviously the more people you hire, the more your margins go down. The other option is like you can do it for 6 months, learn how to master that process, because then when you hand it off to another team, and you know what some accountants are like they're not as proactive as that. So when you hand it off to another team, at least you can inspect what you expect,
Yeah.
and you understand all the numbers. I think it's really good to just have, I know like some 8-figure or 9-figure company owners who still look at those cash flow trackers day to day and just quality control them, because it's so good to master the numbers, and it's such a powerful skill that's underrated. Everyone's focused on like getting more customers or hiring more people. Not many people focus on cash flow and profit because it's boring,
Yeah.
but it's the most important thing at the end of the day,
Well,
right?
that's right. Where's the money
backbone.
at?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
what
where's
keeps
the
it
money?
all afloat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, what's the first system a level 3 founder should put in place?
Currently where I'm at,
Yes.
would you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, I think one of the biggest things that's helped us just continue to grow is having lead generation in place. And because it's so easy as a system now to automate, video content, Twitter posts, whether that's content on LinkedIn, I think that's one of the best things that we set up really, and that seems to scale exponentially. The other thing I like about marketing in general and setting that lead generation process up is that it's just an inputs outputs game. So for example, if you're like, right, okay, we need more leads, we need more sales calls, and we're at 100 pieces of content per day. Well, if we double or triple that, it's so predictable, as long as we keep the quality high, to get even more leads in. And so that's how we keep our sales reps calendars full, and that's how we keep clients coming in through the door. And so that's one of the best systems that I've ever set up.
Okay. So, as the AI guy, who you've obviously, I'm just going to refer to that now, the AI guy. You've obviously figured out how to make that work for you and your business. I'm curious about your favorite pieces of software. So we're always looking for good recommendations for people to try out. What would you recommend people try out? So what's programs that you turn to the most to help you run your businesses?
Yeah, so I mean, for us, we love Go High Level. Go High Level is my CRM that we use. It's a little bit like HubSpot, but it's a lot cheaper. And also, what they tend to do is like they'll look at what's working in the outside world, and then just take that feature and implement it into their software. And so like, previously we had a full, and this is one of the problems with the profits, is like you build up these subscriptions of all these different tools you're implementing, right? It could be like Calendly, and then for
Yep.
example, you've got ClickFunnels to build landing pages. Maybe, for example, you've got an outbound dialer that you're paying for as well each month if you're trying to make phone calls. And so like Go High Level has all of that built into one system, one ecosystem. And then, for example, even like building communities like school, we don't use this, but school started growing so much last year. The High Level were like, right, we'll just set up our own version of school inside high level. So I think it's one of the most powerful software tools that we've used. When I first started setting up a CRM, in the early days, I was like, why do we need this? Like, we've got spreadsheets. We've got this spreadsheet kingdom. Why do we need a,
Yeah,
a
right.
CRM? And then you realize, okay, you can use this, you can use that. And now, like, just setting up a new funnel or tracking Facebook ads or scaling a team and giving them access to all our contacts is 10 times easier.
So
we've
how do
built up
you
a list.
spell that CRM?
So it's Go
Yep.
high level. Yeah.
Oh,
We've
You're-
heard of that before.
you're literally the second person that has consecutively that has recommended that.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's so good.
There you go.
Yeah.
As you were
Because I
describing it, I'm
thought
like,
you were
I feel like
saying
I've
that,
heard
and I'm
about
like,
this.
no, wait, that can't be. It can't be the same. And there we are.
Must be good.
Actually, a little bonus tip I'd recommend is like if you want to keep your costs down for software, like during Black Friday, Go High Level always have a great deal on. That's what I do. I just pay yearly for High Level.
Ah, okay. Good to know. Note to self.
There you go.
Note to viewers.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I'd love to pick your brain for the best cheat code. So advice that you'd give to someone at, let's say, level 1, or especially that level 2, so just before where you are, to reach the level that you're at currently. So what cheat code accelerates the founder to CEO transition?
Yeah, so I think like just tracking your time is really powerful. So just the fundamentals of like, okay, and I still do this today. It's like, okay, the date, the task that you worked on, how much money it made you, how many minutes you spent on it, right? And like if you track those tasks day to day, then you can easily figure out, okay, these are the things that I can't do or I shouldn't be doing, and I can easily delegate those to other people. I still do that task today. So I still figure out, okay, what am I working on that shouldn't be, and then how can I delegate that to someone else? And so very quickly you can get leverage and go from like someone who's doing everything to someone who's just spiraling upwards and giving another task and another task and another task out to someone. So that helps a lot. And then also, when you're doing that process, just make sure you have clear quality control processes in place so that you can quickly check back once a week and go, okay, is this being done correctly? Is it being done regularly? Is the system being followed? And that would just help you free up your time. I mean, I even this year I tracked like what tasks I delegated, how many hours it saved me, and typically it's like 600 hours a month, something like that. That
Wow.
I'll free up again and again and again and again. Yeah. To the point where nowadays like all I work on is just proactive systems to grow the business.
That's amazing. Well, it's all about delegation. Is there anything that you had to like work through to hand over the reins? Because I know that can be a little bit challenging sometimes.
Yeah, I think like one of the things is just for me, like I have very, very high standards for myself. And so like when you bring people in, that can be a little bit too intense for people. And so like I think everyone goes through this stage where it's like you start off and you're maybe someone who's a bit brutal with feedback or a bit too direct to someone who's just more encouraging and going, okay, this is a process. If you don't get it right, it's probably my fault. And we're just going to learn and grow together. And that creates like a more safer, fun environment. And I think like, if you're teaching someone a new skill or a new task, like the worst possible thing you can do is punish them. The best possible thing you can do is just focus on what they did right and give them praise for that. Mm-hmm. And they'll keep learning and growing from there.
Yeah, I actually couldn't agree with that more. If you could replay your founder to CEO sort of transition as you've scaled up, what's something that you did that you would now change and be like, no, I don't recommend that?
Quite often when I was hiring previously, and this ate up the profit margins and created a lot of stress for myself, was hiring for hypothetical roles that were kind of new stuff I didn't need to do. So, for example, it's like, okay, well, we should get a YouTube scriptwriter. And it's like, but why? Why not just sit down and record a tutorial off your screen instead and simplify things? Like, why do you need an extra person who's eating up the margin and someone else to manage who's going to bring stress and require a lot of management? And so, like, usually what I do these days is, like we were talking about before, I'll focus on what's working right now and then how can we hire for more of that? So it's like, okay, well, on the sales side, the sales reps are bringing in sales every day. So why don't you just, instead of going for that hypothetical role where it's like, oh, we need an affiliate manager or we need someone like that, why don't you just do more of what's already working and get more sales reps in, or
Yeah,
more account managers in?
yeah. That makes it makes sense, because I think, like you, everybody that's going through the processes from that startup level, that that most people are starting, well, everyone's starting at a startup level at some point,
start somewhere,
and they're going through these levels, and you get to sort of these level 3s and 4s where you're bringing in the money and the revenue that you are now, and all of a sudden I think it's very easy to fall into those traps of like, oh, we need so and so, and we need so and so, and we need so and so, and all of a sudden, exactly what you said, your cash flow is going down because now you're paying out more. They're giving you stress. They're not doing things the way you wanted to do because it really wasn't a job that needed to be filled to begin with.
Yeah.
So I hope that a lot of people take that advice from you as they're transitioning up through their levels with their revenue.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's so important. And yeah, it's across even just in personal, like you can make more money, but if you don't have your spending habits in line.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'd really like to get serious for a moment.
Ooh.
I can't be very serious, so I'm not going to be very serious. You sound like you've got a lot of experience in self-reflection and looking at, I've listened to you a couple of times take ownership of things going wrong, which I know is a skill that is built over time. So with that, how do I want to frame this? So there's almost always like a painful moment at that level 3. Like you said, there's kind of a painful moment at every level. It doesn't go away. It just changes slightly, but the pain's kind of the same. It's just higher volume. So when you are at this level 3, has there been a moment that you've had to go back and do a check-in with your inner self to check in on your behavior and how to change to become a better leader for that next level?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, typically I'll learn it from my biggest mistakes. So I'll write down and journal the mistakes that I've made, and then how can I become a better leader based on that? So I'll give you an example. I mean, this is a very real example. We had a situation where 2 sales reps and 1 manager quit all on the same morning. And that happened last year. And it was like, these are like 3 of my top people that I absolutely loved working on. And so I think where you point the finger is where you point the power. So I look at myself and I go, okay, well, if I wanted to make sure that never happens again, what do I need to change here? How can I adapt? And also, not just that, but like emotionally, it's painful, but you can't let it stop you doing what you're doing, right? Like if you were planning to, if you had a full day schedule for that and then that emergency crops up, you kind of feel like let's take a day off, or like let's just chill out a bit here. But I think one of the other things is just bouncing back and then bouncing back at a better level. So for example, when those sales reps quit, then when I changed my leadership style in terms of like being a bit more patient with the sales reps, not pushing them to the point where they actually burn out, and also being more understanding from their perspective in terms of like, well, I would quality control a lot of their calls, but I would also at this point give them feedback in a different way that's more positive. And then also from that side of things, I was like, okay, well, this could happen any day with any of our reps. So how do we set up a system where we never have to rely on sales reps again in case things go down? And so what we actually set up was a portal where people can order our services online. And that was back in November this happened. So we set up a portal where people can just go online and buy if they don't want to wait for a sales call. And that's actually accounting for like 30% of our sales now. And so like, I think if you can look at those mistakes and become a better leader, but also set up systems that make you a better company, then you're always going to win. Like you're just going to relentlessly improve.
Yeah.
That's really good advice.
Yeah. If there was one main piece of advice that you could give yourself from your startup, from when you started, what would that be?
Well, I would recommend like self-reflecting earlier. So there was a certain point where I was just like doing lots of work without really analyzing, okay, how can I improve, or what am I doing wrong? Whereas now, like actually, most of what I do is like, when I set up these systems, it's like figuring out, okay, what's working, what's not working, and then how can I improve on that? And like every day, if you do that, like you're just becoming better and better and better and better, and you stop making the same mistakes again. And so like if you can log and journal all of that information, then the speed at which you move and the leverage that you have is going to be way bigger. So, for example, I can move at twice the speed now than I previously could, because I avoid the same dumb mistakes that I was making before, and also I always become better every day. Yeah.
Amazing.
I love that. It's like an accountability checklist. Now I'm going to start adding things to my journal, checking in with myself. No, it's good. I like it. It's a great way to cut out things you don't need anymore. Okay, so at the end of each episode, we like to play a little game with our guests just to get to know you a little bit more personally. So we're going to throw 10 rapid fire questions at you and just answer as quickly as possible. And are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, what's your coffee order?
Americano iced.
What was your first job?
Cleaner.
Oh,
In a
early
pub.
rise. Oh, sorry.
Cleaner in a pub. Yeah,
wow.
that was my first job. Yeah.
Early riser or night owl?
Early riser. I wake up at 4:30 a.m.
Okay. What's your book or podcast recommendation?
I'd recommend checking out Think and Grow Rich. Great book. That probably helped
Thinking
me a
We're
lot.
Rich. Okay.
Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Office or work from home?
Work from home.
If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what career would you choose?
Probably something in marketing or even a musician.
Okay.
Because the guitars are there. Your go-to productivity hack?
Remove all distractions. I wear earphones, I wear earplugs underneath those earphones, put my phone away and just work in a dark room.
One piece of tech you couldn't live without?
Probably Claude AI.
Okay. Best investment you've ever made?
I invested in an agency course that taught me like the fundamentals of running an agency, sevenfigureagency.com. That helped me a lot.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, and one final question for you. If business really is a game, Julian Goldie, what's your definition of winning?
Knowing that I put everything into it and left nothing on the table.
Good. I love that.
That's a really good answer.
It is very, very good. I think that's it can be self-fulfilling too.
Yeah.
That one. So before we wrap up, can you tell our listeners where they can find you and how they can contact you online to get your services?
Sure. So if you want to book in a free SEO strategy session, you can get that at juliangoldie.com. And if you're interested in AI automation, you want to get all my playbooks and systems and weekly coaching on that, you can check out the AI Profit Boardroom at aiprofitboardroom.com.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much, Julian. This has been such a great conversation. I've learned a lot about AI. I'm like, and productivity hacks. So good.
Yeah, no, it's been really, really great. Thank you. We appreciate the time that you spent with us. But that is all we've got time for now. So wherever you're listening from, thanks for joining us here on The Business Game, and we'll see you next time.
This is the